But now we're going to transition over to the discussion. We're going to transition over to Sean's therapy session.
Yes.
Where we are going to be discussing, we like to do at the back half of the show, the back end of it, to just have the rear end of the show, the butt end of the show. We like to have a discussion section where it's just free-flowing. We have a topic, but like no guide rails. We just go at it. And today we are letting Sean rant and give his thoughts. I don't know. He actually loves it. You know, don't let he's actually a teddy bear on the inside. Don't let his mean composure scare you away. He actually loves Harmonious, so don't listen to what he's going to say. But we're going to talk about the new nighttime spectacular that is at EPCOT celebrating, well, it's not really celebrating the 50th.
It premiered with the 50th.
Yeah, it's new for the 50th. The new nighttime spectacular, Harmonious, a.k.a. this section is going to be Sean's therapy session. Yes. So go ahead, talk about Harmonious.
Our hour has begun. Let me just get comfortable. But no,
we do have tissues if you need it. We have tissues if you need it.
There will be some tears shed. So, and let me, please forgive me for those who are listening to this podcast who, yes, you're just being, force-fed our emotions and feelings, and we're two whiny AP holders. We get it, But granted, we love the parks, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
To talk about them. And I love EPCOT. I love Magic Kingdom. I love all of it. I love all of it.
And they love you. We love you, Sean.
I love you, Jonathan. But you know what? So I guess my perspective of Harmonious going into it when it was first announced at the D23 Expo in 2019.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the presentation. I actually was fortunate enough to see it at Disney Springs in the AMC. It was part of a special media invite thing where we got special access to the panels, even though we were, of course, on the East Coast, not the West Coast. And I remember this incredible presentation, first discussing this outstanding new nighttime event that was coming to the Walt Disney World Resort that was going to feature this larger-than-life soundtrack, these all-new show set pieces, what have you, that would take over. What is that called? The World Showcase Lagoon.
The World Showcase Lagoon. Yeah.
That was going to just completely mystify guests. And it seemed like this really larger than life announcement that I was really, honestly, I was very excited for it. This was then followed up with at the Odyssey Center at EPCOT, where they created this immersive experience, which I do not know the name of. What is it called? It's like the 3D theater.
Yes.
Oh my god!
I know it. It's basically the model that they had at the expo. They brought it over to the
EPCOT.
the center.
Yes.
And it's like the showcase, the preview showcase or something like that. So where they do the projection mapping on it's beautiful
video.
We do have a few vlogs where we showed it off. So if you guys want to see what we're talking about, I'll try to show some footage.
Click around our channel.
Yeah. I'll try to show it off in this video here, but definitely watch some of the older EPCOT vlogs for sure.
Well, so as part of that experience in the Odyssey Center, you would see this larger than life, just incredible presentation where you would see a number of floats or set pieces just that take over all of this waterway, and these massive fireworks, just these massive water projections, what have you. It was just supposed to be this massive, incredible sight to see. That it actually seemed like it was going to be a bigger event than what is typical for Magic Kingdom, with the nighttime spectaculars there, whether it's Happily Ever After or the new current nighttime show that's running for the 50th anniversary, which is what is it called? Oh my gosh, I don't like that show either.
Oh, I was literally just talking to someone. It's not Happily Ever After. It is.
That's what the former show.
That was the former show.
I don't care enough to know because I don't like it.
It starts with an I.
It's
right. To the Googles.
To the Googles. This is a side note.
Yes. Enchantment.
Enchantment. Disney's Enchantment.
Yeah.
So in my perspective, and that's, again, I need to explain my perspective.
I don't know, even though, like, sorry, I'm looking at this right now. Even though I'm looking at it, Disney Enchantment just sounds wrong. Like, it doesn't sound like that's the correct answer. But
for Magic
it
Kingdom,
is, apparently.
but that's it.
Yeah, it is. Anyway,
so
sorry, continue.
now you're fine. Well, so, like, Harmonious, it just seemed like this incredible, just new, innovative performance that was going to just shake all of us park goers who are diehards, who really genuinely love and care for all of these nighttime events, these nighttime spectaculars that really are the cherry on top of the sundae that is your visit to the Walt Disney World Resort theme parks. And, I realize over the past few years, there have been so many cuts. EPCOT was actually supposed to be transformed quite dramatically throughout. Mm-hmm. And then the reality is a lot of money got cut, and for good reasoning, and I understand that. And it feels like some of that money that was cut might have got cut with Harmonious, because for those of you who have not yet experienced it, who have not yet been to EPCOT to see all these new set pieces or whatever you want to call them that are in this lagoon all of the time, they never disappear. They're there 24/7. There's, to be like really frank and maybe even, kind of picky or annoying, there's not many. There's like a few.
There's like four barges, and then there's that main circular, and then there's the Stargate Atlantis that is in the center.
The center, which is the main showpiece throughout the entire show. And it's a little lackluster for me, the entire experience. And I feel like it was misrepresented in all of the, I guess, trailers or promotional footage that was put out in promotion of this.
Well, it's because everyone was freaking out that they were going to be blocking the sight lines. They ruined the sight lines of Epcot World Showcase. But they said, no, we're going to have the fountains going throughout the day to hide the barges, and it's going to look like a fountain in the middle of World Showcase, so it's going to add to it instead of take away. And I remember when they were building the barges, I did a vlog at Epcot and showed a lot of the progress on it, and I was a big advocate. People were freaking out, and I remember saying, guys, I don't think it's as bad as what everyone's saying, because look at this concept art that they have.
Because there's not that much there. Literally, there's only that little bit in the center. And then what else really is there, in all honesty?
Well, yeah. So ultimately, even without the fountains, I don't think it is as bad as everyone was freaking out about.
As far as protruding the sight lines across the water.
Yeah, that's when you're in those countries, you're focused on those countries. You're not focused at looking at China on the other side, or you're not.
No, of course.
But I will say that I do feel kind of bad about sticking up for Disney Imagineers in that video as much as I did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, look at the concept art. Look at all of this promotional material where they're showing these fountains and stuff. It actually looks really nice. It looks neat.
Jonathan, are you retracting?
I am retracting. Yes, I am. Got him. But the reason I feel bad about that is because they don't have the fountains going.
Yeah.
They promised that they one of the things that they were going to do to make up for having those barges there 24/7 and not moving them during the day was because
I'm sorry, that was so loud. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But it was because they were going to do the fountains, and it was going to look really pretty throughout the day. And where is it? They still haven't done it.
Regardless of that, which I don't even care about.
Yeah.
The show just isn't. It's just lackluster. There isn't a lot of fireworks. There isn't a lot of visuals. It's just really. I feel like it's only maybe 25% bigger than the globe that used to be in its place for the show.
Illuminations.
And to me, I remember globe was so small. And I feel like this new arrangement of barges, set pieces, I don't feel like they're that much bigger. In all honesty, they are. I realize that.
Well, they're just permanent is the thing. Like, they would bring that globe in and out.
Yes.
Where these just sit there.
The only issue I have is I feel like we were oversold on something that they just didn't deliver. And the reality is, it's just really not. I just feel like it's a lackluster experience, and I'm disappointed with it. And
Interesting.
I don't feel like it's really that amazing. And I feel like if you're someone who, towards the end of the run of the previous show, Illuminations, who, you know, you kind of just, oh, this is the old show that we love, but it's really not fantastically overwhelming, or it's not super visually just grabbing all your senses, you know. I feel that way about this new show, and I'm struggling with that because it's not enough for me, and I feel like it's really not that premium of experience. I feel like they promised something and they did not deliver, and I feel like it just feels like we got half the show, maybe a quarter of the show they promised.
Interesting.
And I'm struggling with that severely. And I remember watching it and thinking, like, this really took... They actually premiered another show prior to this to build all of these pieces, these barges and everything. Yeah. For what reason? Because what they gave us really is not that spectacular. And it's really disappointing. And yes, again, like, I don't know what the budgets were that were established prior to COVID, and then what the amounts of money they ended up with post-COVID.
I did hear, again, this is not Disney official confirmed, but a lot of insiders have been saying that Harmonious, I blanked on the name for a second. Harmonious was one of the projects that, because that idea came specifically from Bob Chapek.
Yeah.
That was an idea that he had that he really wanted seen through. So I have heard from quite a few insiders saying that Harmonious was one of the few projects that actually didn't get a budget cut. And a lot of the reasoning for why a lot of those other EPCOT projects were getting pulled, and the reasoning for why Enchantment wasn't a huge step up from Happily Ever After, was because those were the areas that got pulled so that Harmonious could have its full budget still. So there's again, this is not Disney confirmed, but there's a lot of speculation saying that Harmonious actually didn't get budget cuts and instead cannibalized a lot of these other projects so that it could be exactly what they had planned. For me, so I saw the show for the first time just the other day. And I went in with not huge expectations because for every 10 people I talk to, maybe one of them says that they really like the show. And the other 9 people are like anywhere from the spectrum of like, it's not bad to I hate it, and anywhere in between. So like there's been a lot of negativity, but even amongst that negativity, so many different varied opinions that I just kind of went in not having big expectations, but honestly just not knowing what to expect at all, because everyone has been thinking something different. And I saw the show, and I will say that as a nighttime show, I enjoyed it. I don't think that it lives up to its potential. I think that, you know, what you were saying, I think that, like to add on to what you were saying, I feel like those barges have so much amazing capabilities. Like when the show is at its peak and the arms are coming out and there's lighting effects happening and all the fireworks are like shooting into the center and doing so many amazing things. I feel like there's so much potential that those barges have to do amazing show scenes. The fact that they are covered in LED screens and they can project whatever the heck that they want to put on there. The fact that they have as much lighting on there as they do. I feel like there's so much creative possibilities that they could have that they're just not utilizing. And I feel like ultimately there's so much more that they could be doing with it that they just aren't. Like it has the capabilities, it's just for whatever reason they didn't program it to do anything super extravagant, which is kind of a shame. I left it enjoying it, but feeling like, they could have done a little bit more with it. I do want to say that I think one of the reasons why I felt so positive about it, I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10 show. What I'm saying is, for a nighttime show, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty decent nighttime show. It's definitely better than average, but I didn't leave with my jaw dropped or anything. That's kind of where I sit with it. Like, my mind wasn't blown. I enjoyed it. But I'm like right there with it. I will say that part of the reason why I feel positive on it, I think, is because there are so many people, especially people that I know that I have actually physically talking and spoken to about this, that were so in love with Illuminations. Like, Illuminations was something they grew up with. I mean, that show went on for like 2 decades, like more than 20 years. It's like 20 something years. Went on for forever.
I think it was like 21 or 22 years.
Yeah. Went on forever.
Yeah.
So this was a show that people grew up with. And it's the only show that they've known from EPCOT. And I honestly don't have that experience with Illuminations. Because EPCOT was never a park that I loved growing up. Like, it was a park that, honestly, I think I probably only ever went to EPCOT once or twice when I was a kid, because it was definitely geared more towards older kids. And by the time I got older, my parents couldn't afford Disney because Disney was getting more expensive. And Universal was geared more towards young adult, like teenagers and young adults. So instead of spending the money on Disney, my parents took me to Universal. Like, so I kind of missed that age where EPCOT was kind of like really geared towards you in my youth. So growing up, I was never a huge EPCOT fan, so I didn't grow up with Illuminations. Now that I'm older, I do find myself falling in love with EPCOT again, or just more. But Illuminations was only something that I only remember Illuminations from my recent memories, like over the last 3-4 years. And I feel like that's part of the reason why I'm okay with Harmonious, is because I'm kind of going in with not a blank slate, but kind of a blank slate. Like, I remember Illuminations, but I don't have this childhood like nostalgia for it. But with that being said, about about Harmonious, I actually really do appreciate that, there is this big push at the Walt Disney Company to cram IP into every single corner of their parks. I'm not a huge fan of that mindset, but I do understand that that's the mindset and that is something that they're going towards. So with that being said, I do appreciate that even though that's kind of what Harmonious is, it is IP and that is it. There's nothing really EPCOT about it. Like, there's, Figment doesn't show up in Harmonious. They don't sing any of the EPCOT songs from the past.
It's not even so much about the countries anymore. It's more about the movies and how they're represented in the countries, I guess. I might have said that backwards, but yeah.
But, I mean, so that's what I was going to say, though, is I do appreciate that the show isn't just, hey, here's all of the amazing Disney IPs that you love. I do appreciate that they took those IPs and customized it and specifically made it to represent the different countries from the different show, like the different countries around World Showcase. Like, I appreciate that there is still a little bit of EPCOT DNA in it, even though there's so much change coming to the park, and even though there's so much change in the philosophy of just Disney parks in general. I appreciate that a little bit of that DNA is still in there. And I will say that I enjoyed that. I was with someone when we saw this that was just literally like, she was almost in tears like the whole time, and she was just like, I love this so much, and like she got emotional during some parts of the show.
Yeah.
And I was with someone that like grew up natively speaking Spanish, so during some of the parts of the show when they started speaking or singing in Spanish, like it really emotionally hit him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so neat. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I appreciated the show, was because I was able to see it from someone else's perspective who natively, like, their first language is another language.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine, like, Disney World is, like we were saying earlier, it's becoming so less about the locals and more about the people who are traveling to Orlando to experience the parks. And I'm just trying to imagine the show from the perspective of someone who came here from one of these countries that are represented.
Yeah, but I will say, like, it's not even about the content of the show. Like, that's not my problem at all. It's just the size. And it's funny because, like,
it should have been bigger.
It should have been bigger. And, like, everything I've seen, every piece of media, every press release, all of the stock animations that they created, showing a perception of what this show was going to be upon its premiere, mm-hmm. I do not believe it lived up to those expectations. And I know you said that whoever these mm-hmm. people are, which of course that is a rumor. It's
very much a rumor.
I even still, like, I regardless of whatever happened, this show was so much oversold.
Yeah.
At least as far as the size of what it was going to be. Because physically, mm-hmm. it does not exceed.
Well, I was surprised.
The content I think is good, but the size of it is not there. If you see any of those, even in the Odyssey Center, I don't believe that presentation is still there.
I actually haven't checked it out, so I don't know.
Like, if you see those videos, there's you can't even count how many barges and set pieces that kind of take over that lagoon or that waterway in those representations that are put out by Disney.
They make it look like it's some massive
so massive
thing.
And it covers every last drop of water, literally. And what is there is not a representation of that. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, it's not. And it's very lackluster.
Well, even in that...
They oversold. They did.
Even in that, they showed, like, these characters taking over, like, the LED screens, like, on
massive,
the barges.
Like, super massive scales, which they're not.
And I was surprised at how little they actually used the LED screens on the barges. Like, there was only a few moments here and there where, like, the characters filled up the screens on the barges. So even in comparison to that marketing, I thought that it was very underutilized. Like, they could have done more. One of the things that I think is so... Okay, so I'm going to say this knowing full well that they're not going to do this.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that is so brilliant about these barges and the fact that there's LED panels and all the lighting is so customizable and programmable is that they easily could, make it larger.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be a hard feat for them to add more animations onto the LED screens, or to add more fireworks, or to make the lighting more immersive.
Yeah.
Like, to add to the lighting presentation. It wouldn't be hard for them to do that. But when I say that, I kind of think of the way that they pitched Smuggler's Run, right, was that it's all programmable, so they could add different missions to it in the future. And they said that was something that they wanted to do when it opened, but obviously they didn't do that. And now we're a few years into this and still nothing. I'm pretty sure that they said something like that's what they wanted to do with Mission Space when it opened. And where's that? So I know full well that what we have for Harmonious is what we have, and they're not changing it. But I think that what's one of the cool things about it is that, like, it would be so easy for them to do it. Like, they could do it.
Yeah. I don't know. But those are just my feelings. It's just, I feel like I was oversold and they under-delivered, and that I can't. I've seen too much. They've teased too much and not given me, and I don't know. I remember how people make me feel. I am truly a Scorpio, and I don't forget things like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't think this show's going to grow on you at all?
No. In all honesty, I think I'm just so disappointed. I will say, like, yes, the content is good and all the emotions are there, but
I thought
I'm so undersold.
I thought the arrangement of the music was I don't know if I want to say brilliant, but I thought I was very impressed with the way everything kind of blended together. Like the person who arranged the score and did the composition of the score, I thought they did a fantastic job with the creativity of
well,
all
and you
that.
know what? And then, like, I guess, and this is a comparison that arguably is not apples to apples, maybe even apples to oranges, but like at Disney California Adventure with World of Color, that show takes up an extreme amount.
Oh, it's the whole lagoon.
It's massive, bigger than life.
Yes.
I don't know, like, a direct comparison as far as size to, the Waterway at World Showcase.
Oh, the World Showcase is, like,
it's bigger,
insane.
But I think seeing how much of the, I guess, space they were able to utilize at Disney California Adventure, and I think seeing all of the promotional advertising and press releases and animations and renderings and just the fantasy that was sold to me, I feel like they did me dirty. And it is what it is. And I think maybe that also has ruined this for me, is seeing World of Color and how they're able to utilize that space.
Yeah.
And then
see, that is interesting.
This is also, there's a lot of, there could be so many different perspectives in my mind that have ruined this for me. But I don't know.
That is interesting. I wonder if they'll ever consider adding fountains into the World Showcase Lagoon. Because, like, World of Color, that's all that is. Yeah. Make it something like Universal does something very similar for their shows. Yeah. Like, I wonder if they would ever consider...
And that's quite large as well.
Oh, yeah.
And they use the huge buildings that surround the...
Yeah, they 3D project
there's a lot of elements in that. There are.
Yeah. But because that's what they're... doing with the circular barge in the middle. Like, they already have so much water projection on that circular barge. So I wonder if they'll ever consider the idea of adding in more fountains throughout the rest of World Showcase, just to kind of
expand on
it. I think part of the issue, though, is World Showcase is just so big. And there's viewing from that entire lagoon. Yeah. So whatever they do, you can't really block the view of that middle barge. Like, that middle barge is pretty integral. But I don't know. I mean, because those side barges from certain perspectives already kind of block that center barge. So I don't even know what they would do to expand. But I hope they do expand on it soon. I think it's a solid starting off point. But I agree. I think that they overhyped it a little bit. And I think that's probably where a lot of this backlash... Well, not backlash. Like, I haven't heard too many people, like, hate Disney for it.
Of course.
But the disappointment... Yeah. I think that's where a lot of that is coming from. But, yeah, I mean, like, the reason why I asked if maybe this would ever grow on you is because I know that, like, a lot of Disney fans hated Happily Ever After when it first came out. Because it didn't live up to all the other shows that they had done. And now, like, that Enchantment is a thing. Like, we saw so many videos of people doing, like, farewell videos to Happily Ever After, people, like, crying during the last showing of Happily Ever After. Like, that was a show that was so beloved by the time it left. So I wonder... it's not even wonder. Like, I know that at least the vast majority of people that don't like Harmonious now, I know by the time Harmonious leaves, they're going to be in tears being like, oh, I'm going to miss it so much. Like, people are going to love it. Yeah, like, I feel like it's going to be something that grows on people. So I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I won't be one of those people, but but no,
all right,
I know what you mean.
You're in history now, saying that we will come back to that.
December 7th, 2021 at 10:45 p.m. Sean Sposato has stated he will never love Harmonious at Disney's EPCOT Center.
In 2 years, we will revisit this moment.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe if they gave me the show they promised me, then
if they update it,
if they just upped it, like gave me the fantasy, I just feel like they just got in my personal honest opinion, it just feels like they've got some fountains that are really big and bulky, and they're in the center of the waterway.
And that's it.
That's really it, yeah. And then they got a nice soundtrack.
Yeah.
And some pretty projections.
I don't know.
Aren't even that big.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's so much that those things can do that they're just not doing with them.
And that could
even
be
as simple as the fountains. Why are the fountains not on during the day?
Yeah.
Why? They already work. It's not like it's an operational thing. Of course. They work.
It's obvious they work. You're right.
Yeah, they do the fountainy thing at night. Why not have it throughout the day like they said? I don't understand why there are simple things that they promised that they haven't even delivered yet, let alone even the big grandiose things from the show that they promised. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see them add more and up it a little bit. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this show. We just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you've watched or listened all the way through, guys, thank you so much. We just love that so much. We really do appreciate it. And if you've watched this far, that means that you liked the show, the podcast. So go ahead and consider subscribing and hitting that bell button to be notified when we do more podcasts. Because go ahead and sub. But because we're going to be doing a lot more of these. We had a blast doing this. And if you are listening on the podcast version, go ahead and and rate this podcast. Leave us some feedback. We would love to know what parts of the show you liked, what parts of the show that you didn't. This is a new show, so we're still kind of trying to figure out that formatting. And I know that fan feedback is going to be a big part of it. So definitely give us your feedback, the things that you liked, things that we could maybe possibly work on. We missed Trisha this week.
We did. She's going. Actually, I think she's going to Disneyland.
She's going to Disneyland.
Yeah, she is. So I think
I'm actually so jealous.
Yeah.
So jealous. So she's out there having fun while we're out here just wishing we could be there. We're but
unable to get reservations. I'm joking.
Right. Can you imagine if she goes all the way out there and she couldn't get reservations?
She's too smart for that. But I know
she is too smart for that.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. But she'll be back. So if you were missing Trisha, she will be back. We just want to wish you, Trisha, if you're watching, just have a great time at Disneyland. Yeah. We miss you over here. But anyways, that is going to be it for us, our thoughts, our opinions. And guys, remember, the conversation is continuing down below in the comments. So head on over there and leave your thoughts, comments down below. Sean, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
For having me.
Yeah, where can the people find you? And what are you up to? You up to anything?
You can find me on Instagram at Sean Sposato, and currently there is nothing too exciting to talk about, but I appreciate the ability to blog.
Yeah, of course. So go over there to Instagram and follow him. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jonathan. Of course, you can find me on the socials at John Holt 96. I'm always up to some fun stuff. I am very active on this channel. We've got some great holiday videos coming out soon, so stay tuned. We have a bunch of holiday at the parks updates about to drop, so subscribe for that. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and remember, the adventure lives on. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.